And I'm going to give each of you just an open mic to give us whatever you're thinking about what you have read tonight from this judge.
Well, Lawrence, there's so much to choose from, and I'm certainly going to leave a lot on the table for Neal and Brad because there's so many outrageous and stupid, frankly, pieces of this decision. I mean, it's remarkable because you never thought there'd be something worse than her last decision, and this actually topped it. But let me focus on something I thought was particularly important, and then also go to something that's maybe a positive. So one of the things that I thought was particularly egregious is that she comes right out and says at the end of her decision that she's giving extra weight to Trump because he was the president. She just comes right out and says it. That, if anyone wants to see the end of the rule of law, it is just read the decision. John Locke famously said, where law ends, tyranny begins. You read this decision and what she said, and she is admitting that the position that the person held is going to carry extra weight in terms of how he is treated in court. That is a violation of her oath as a judge to treat everyone the same. I found that just so shocking, and I'll leave to Neal and to Brad all sorts of other things. But now we turn to something positive, which you mentioned, which is because she is also, I think, frankly, a chicken. She could be doing all of this review herself, but she's decided to have a special master. Well, that is a big plus for the department here because Raymond Dearie is a real step up. I mean, in complete different league than this judge. And so by her subcontracting out her own duties, it actually, and I think she's thinking, let him be the fall guy. Let him have to say Donald Trump is wrong because then her hands are somewhat clean. I think that is what's going on here. I mean, it's really disgraceful that that's the way she's approaching her job. But from the Department of Justice's point of view, I think that there's a lot of hope that they should have given Judge Dearie's track record and his common sense and integrity.
Neal Katyal, go.
So, Lawrence, you've heard of Oliver Wendell Holmes, John Marshall, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. This is like the polar opposite of them. And, we used to say in the Solicitor General's office that some appeals write themselves. This is one, and it is a terrible, terrible abuse of our legal system for reasons that Andrew just mentioned a moment ago. And it was also entirely unnecessary. The Justice Department gave this judge an opportunity to walk back her not-so-earlier opinion, and instead she chose to dig her heels in. I mean, Bill Barr called this request for a special master a crock of S-word. And while I thought that was kind of mean to crocs, this opinion is like a crock of the crock of the S-word. I mean, the Justice Department gave her a lifeline, and she just blew it off. And I can tell you this decision should be reversed within a week. And the Justice Department gave her that sensible proposal of saying, look, there's 100 documents. Trump has no plausible claim to ownership of these documents. They're obviously government documents. At least separate that out. She has no real argument against that. So if I'm the Solicitor General, what I do is go to the 11th Circuit tonight or tomorrow morning, seek an emergency stay of this decision. And, I was always reluctant to seek emergency stays when I was at the Justice Department, but in rare circumstances you would. This is that circumstance. So you stay this ruling about the 100 or so documents, you let the criminal investigation proceed, and then you appeal the entire ball of wax, which is crazy, just slightly less crazy than the other parts of her decision. And let me just isolate one reason why I think that strategy makes sense. There's a whole thing in the law about irreparable harm, which is, if this investigation goes forward, who's harmed? And the Justice Department provided this affidavit that said, Judge, your special master ruling is going to endanger national security. And she says in her ruling tonight, well, I just don't see that based on, I guess, her extensive national security experience. And let me just, in a concrete way, explain how this matters, because before I was acting Solicitor General, I was National Security Advisor at the Justice Department. Some of these documents are marked with HCS, that's human source material. And what that is like someone who's a spy who maybe is working in a foreign government and is spying for us, something like that. They're in the field. Now, if you're that person in the field, right now you have no idea whether those documents that Trump brought to his golf club are about you and who got to see those documents. If you're that person, you got to be freaking out right now. Now, what kind of intelligence do you think we're going to be getting from that person in the interim while we wait for the special master to reach his decision? And would we want to reassure everyone else in the field that, look, these documents aren't about you. They're about something else. And, you don't have to worry. Wouldn't you want that assessment to happen right now? She just blows it off. Easy appeal, easy stay tomorrow.
Bradley Moss, you've served as a criminal defense attorney in classified documents cases. The part of the order that is curious to me is when the judge orders that the special master will show all of the classified documents to Donald Trump's lawyers. None of them have ever seen a classified document. None of them have any security clearances. How is that done in that situation?
Yeah, so they're going to have to get security clearances. They're going to have to go through the process, which can be expedited, to be fair. They'll have to fill out the standard Form 86. It'll get quick run through, assuming no immediate red flags show up. They'll review and inspect the documents in a secure facility in the presence of the special master. They won't be able to take anything out. Any notes they take will have to be reviewed for declassification. And if they are classified, they'll stay in the custody of the government or the special master. But here's the part that makes no sense to me when I'm reading this special master order. What's the special master going to do with these documents with classification marks? He's going to look at them. He's going to say, OK, I see top secret SCI with HCS, as Neal said. What do you want me to do with that? That's proper classification marking. All Donald Trump can theoretically say is, well, I verbally declassified them. And let's assume for the moment he gets Kash Patel and whoever to submit a sworn declaration saying, yes, I stood there while he declassified them verbally. So what? The relevant statutes don't care. The Espionage Act doesn't care. The two obstruction provisions do not care if the documents were still classified. They still had classification markings. He jerked DOJ around, as none other than Bill Barr said, and he didn't turn it over, and his lawyers lied to the FBI. Whether or not he verbally or in his mind while playing golf declassified these records is ultimately going to be irrelevant, and I don't know what the special master is supposed to say there other than these classification markings are valid, end of discussion.